President Trump faces several ongoing legal challenges over the extent of his executive power. Since taking office, it seems each week has brought about new lawsuits, each surrounding a central question. Can he do this? Joining me now is CBS legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, let's talk about the ruling. First, on that question of can he do this, related to the use of the National Guard in Los Angeles. What exactly did the judge say about the limits of the power of the president?
This is a great question. So there was actually two questions here. The first part was answered back in June, which is, does the president have the power to federalize the National Guard over the objections of the governor and the mayor? And the answer was essentially yes. The second part of the question today, Judge Breyer said, what can they do once the National Guard is on the ground? As you know, there's a very old statute, the Posse Comitatus Act, that says the National Guard and any military members cannot serve as a domestic law enforcement agency unless there's some exception. So what can you do? You can act in a supporting role. You can support other federal law enforcement officers. You can try and protect federal property. You can't cross that line into being the ones to directly enforce civilian law. That's what the Posse Comitatus Act says you don't have the power to do. Again, unless there's a suspension of that act. Judge Breyer said today that is what you did, and that's why he issued that temporary restraining order.
So there's a federal power, an executive power, but then there's also a statute, a law that you can't jump over. How does that apply then to other places outside of LA?
I just talked about this with my students a few hours ago. What does this mean for other jurisdictions? Because the president has talked about sending in the National Guard to Oakland, to Chicago. I think the answer is that, one, we don't know how long this particular ruling stands. We know that it will be appealed to the Ninth Circuit almost immediately. And two, this ruling is absolutely based on not just do you have the power, but again, today is once you have the power to send in the National Guard, what can it do? It's based on the facts on the ground in the city I'm talking to you from in Los Angeles. So it will have a persuasive value when it comes to other judges in other jurisdictions, but it won't be binding.
A judge also ruled last week that the president overstepped his bounds when he instituted some of his tariff policies. What's at issue there?
So what's at issue there is kind of the same, at least first question, right? Which is, do you have the power to do this? Under the Constitution, Congress has the power to regulate commerce, but Congress can give up some of that power. And it's given up, as John, as you know, a lot of that power in a variety of different statutes. But what the Federal Circuit said when it came to these tariffs is, but you didn't give up this much power to the president. You can't look at, he was looking at a specific statute, the IEEPA. They said, we don't see the word tariff. We don't think this envisions allowing President Trump or any other president to do what he tried to do, which is impose those reciprocal tariffs. So again, it was a Congress gives the power, but not that much power.
A shared power system. Who'd have thought? Jessica Levinson, thank you so much, as always.